Time does heal all. You've taken the initiative to really look after yourself and applaud yourself for that. Hey, my name's Taylor and I make videos about health, wellness, spirituality and leveling up in your life. In this video, I'm going to be giving you strategies on how to speed up the healing process of a breakup. And don't forget to stay till the end of this video because I will be giving you an empowerment package of recommended books, films and affirmations that will help you through the process of a breakup. You may wonder why I would be qualified to give such a spiel on this topic. Well, in February last year, I came out of a 2.5-year on-off relationship. It was my first serious relationship and it was brutal, to say the least. Now, I know some of you may be watching this and actually know who I'm talking about. I'd just like to say I have so much gratitude for that relationship and that connection, and I have no ill feelings towards him whatsoever. I wish him all the success and happiness in the world. I think my attitude in itself shows that these strategies work. And I really hope that by making this video that I can help someone else on the other end of this through their struggles of a breakup. It is not a very nice process. Before we get started, a little disclaimer. I know some people watching this video will be coming out of abusive or toxic relationships. I am not a psychologist. I am just sharing my experience in the hopes that it will help someone else. A breakup can exaggerate any pre-existing mental health conditions as it causes a lot of distress on our emotional bodies. If you are struggling with your mental health or do not feel safe in your relationship, please contact government agencies or a psychologist that can help you. Now we'll get started, and my first tip is cut off all social media contact. Social media is not your friend in this circumstance because people will only stalk other people's accounts when they're unhappy with their own lives. So just don't do it. Put a band-aid on the wound by blocking all contact. Tip number 2. In the initial impact of the breakup, remember to take some downtime to cry, have a Harry Potter marathon if you need to, and to acknowledge your emotions, but please do not completely withdraw from your life. My friend has a really great understanding of the pendulum theory. She told me that when a significant romantic relationship ends, we feel a lot of grief and loss in our bodies because it is very similar to someone close to us passing away or dying. That's because the relationship has died in a way. It is ended and it's no longer a part of your present reality. Now, of course, it's not going to be as sizable as if someone has actually passed away, but to varying degrees, it can cause a lot of feelings of grief and loss and sadness. We can view our emotions as a pendulum. So when the initial impact of the breakup first happens, it is as if you've started the pendulum. Your feelings of grief, loss, and sadness will be far more intense at first. But then it's going to swing the other way and you're going to feel moments of joy, liberation, and peace. Celebrate those feelings because that is an indication that you're moving forward in your life. And also expect for the pendulum to swing the other way. You're going to experience a spectrum of emotions during your journey. Gradually, over time, the momentum will dissipate and the pendulum will reach a new sort of equilibrium. That's what you're going to feel throughout the process of a breakup. So if we can go into this process expecting to experience a full spectrum of emotions, then we're not going to go and DM our ex at 3 a.m. because we know that the sadness is not going to be forever and we are going to feel happy again at some point. When an ocean wave breaks over us, we can hold our breath and swim underneath the impact zone in order to avoid all the turmoil. Our emotions are very similar to an ocean break. So we can know that our emotions aren't going to last forever and we can come up for air once the turmoil has passed. Treat your emotions like a wave and they won't sweep you away. Tip number 3, take some time to rediscover yourself and reclaim this time to rediscover your life purpose. Now, sometimes when we're in a long-term relationship, we tend to suppress our core values in order to maintain the unhealthy relationship. And oftentimes, if we're not clear on our core values, we fall into relationships that don't necessarily reflect what we represent as human beings. There are multiple reasons why relationships don't work. People often romanticize the beginning of the relationship, and as time goes on, they know deep down the relationship is not going to suit their best interest long term and that they're not compatible. So make sure when you come out of this time into this breakup, reflect on your core values. What do you stand for? Do you know what you want in life? If you don't know the answer to these questions, it might be a good time or a good indicator that you need to spend some more time with yourself to clarify what you want out of life. Don't be scared of having some alone time. If you're not scared to be alone, you're gonna trust your inner voice a lot more than if you were scared, basically. Learn to turn loneliness into solitude and back yourself if you've made the decision to do the breakup. Do the things that bring you joy and you will strengthen your intuition and inner voice. That way, when you go into your next relationship, it'll be a far more accurate representation of who you are as a person. Focus on being the best version of yourself and the universe will work to support you. Tip number 4, vent if you need to in the short term, but cultivate gratitude and kindness in the long term. Obviously, when a breakup first happens, there's going to be a bunch of emotions that bubble to the surface. Anger, hatred, things can get messy. And make sure when this is all happening with you, that you surround yourself with people who love you and have your best interests at heart. They'll be there for you when you need it. But living your life from a place of anger and hatred is really gonna only make you suffer in the long term. Obviously, if you've been abused or it's been a toxic relationship, you need to go see a psychologist to deal with that. But in terms of more minor things, it's really helpful to try and cultivate gratitude and compassion for the experiences that you've had with that person, because it has gotten you to the place that you're at right now. I know this is easier said than done, but if you cultivate gratitude and kindness for the situation at hand, you are going to be vibrating at a much higher frequency, and that is much more better for you, your personal well-being, and for the greater collective at hand. Living from a place of love, gratitude, and kindness is going to save you your finite energy in this physical manifestation of your being. It's also going to speed up your healing, and if or when you run into your ex, how you react to that encounter is really going to be telling of how you dealt with the situation and how much healing you have done. If you can wish them well, then you are putting yourself at a much higher frequency of love, and that's just better for everyone. Speaking of love, why don't you take a moment to like this video if you're finding it helpful so far. Don't forget to subscribe because I'll be posting videos 2 to 3 times a week, and click that notification bell. Number 5, give dating a break until you're actually ready and until you get super specific about what you want in a person. If you go rushing out there on Tinder, Hinge, and everything when you're not ready, you run the risk of wasting your own time, other people's time. You run the risk of hurting yourself and others. Not everyone has your best interests at hand, so you could also be vulnerable to pickup artists as well on the scene. Do you actually know what you want in a partner? If you don't know what you want, you may need to spend some more time figuring out your core values. If you do know what you want, write it all down. Write a whole list. Myself and my friends, we tend to write massive lists down of what we want in a future partner. And some of my friends have found guides to the T. It's a little bit creepy. Okay, now once you have this really long list of everything you want in someone, then you need to take a look at yourself. Are you exerting the qualities that you're asking for? For example, say you've written down on this list, I want someone who's a great listener. Okay, you want someone who's a great listener. That's awesome. But are you someone that continually cuts people off in a conversation? Now that's just an example, but the universe isn't going to make this person appear in front of you until you start displaying the qualities that you want in this person. Continually improve yourself and show up as the person you want to attract. Get to work on these qualities that you've written down, and the universe, again, I repeat myself, will work to support you. And also get excited, because yes, you've just had some loss, some sadness and disappointment, but really get excited because this means you get to fall in love all over again. and you're leveled up in life, so it's going to be even more awesome. My sixth and final tip is to continue to cultivate self-awareness and self-love, because personal growth is a constantly evolving thing. Now, I just went through the list of your soulmate, future partner. Let's pretend that you are in this next relationship and you've done all the healing. Unfortunately, the healing doesn't stop there. Our past experiences tend to color our present reality, even if those beliefs and memories don't continue to serve us. So if you fall into your next relationship and you find that some of the patterns from your previous relationships are still existing in the present moment, you need to take a little bit of a look at yourself, because wherever you go, there you are. Do you harbor a belief about relationships that is actually limiting you from fully experiencing the joy of an amazing relationship? For example, do you think that the only reason you can't find someone is because modern dating culture is terrible? Is this something that lives in your reality? You need to examine these beliefs and evaluate if they're still serving you. And if they're not serving you, try and replace it with a different belief that is more empowering and more self-serving. And also, do you harbor any other beliefs that inhibit your happiness in general? Do you love yourself? Do you take time for yourself? Do you think you deserve love and affection? Really take the time to consider these questions, because if any of these questions make you uncomfortable, well, that's really exciting, because that shows you that you have an opportunity to instigate a love story with yourself, and no one and any external circumstances cannot take that away from you. When we love ourselves, we're continually nurturing ourselves, and the universe is just going to provide us things to continually show us to love ourselves, if that makes sense. I guess it's like a positive confirmation bias. If you allow yourself to love yourself, then you are going to be acting from a space of love and from your heart in all areas of your life. And love is the most powerful force in the universe. Those are my 6 tips for getting through a breakup. It's actually more 6 points about self-development, but I hope you found this helpful, and thank you so much for watching, because now I'm going to give you this empowerment package of recommended films, affirmations and books, and my top 5 films to watch during a breakup. Number 1, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. This film is awesome because it shows us 2 characters who erase their memories of their relationship, and the importance of reflection and retaining those memories, which can help us move forward in our lives. Really investigate how you feel at the end of this film, because the director's trying to tell us something really important about us clinging to relationships that no longer serve our highest good. Number 2, How to Be Single. This one's pretty self-explanatory. It's a really great feel-good comedy with a lot of, self-reflection questions embedded in the main character's story and arc. And it gives us a few laughs along the way. Number 3, Someone Great. This film really highlights the horrible reality of a long-term relationship ending. It doesn't sugarcoat how people usually feel during this process, but it really shows us the importance of moving forward in our lives and how to not let relationships define our core being. It also shows that sometimes we still hurt over past trauma, but that we have the power to change the course of our lives for the better. It also really highlights the pendulum concept that I talked about in the earlier tips. 500 Days of Summer. This is a really cool and stylistic film. I haven't seen it for a while, but it really highlights how our perspectives can be skewed when we're blinded by love in connections that don't serve us, and how hindsight really helps us move forward in a positive way. Number 5, Eat, Pray, Love. Would this really be a self-help video if I didn't recommend you watch this? 5 books that are going to help you through a breakup. Number 1, Attached, The Science of Adult Attachment and How It Can Help You Find and Keep Love. I haven't actually finished this one yet, but the archetypes will give you an insight into your own character and also how to best prepare yourself for relationships according to those archetypes they prescribe. Number 2, The Alchemist, is a really great parable book by Paul Coelho. I don't think I'll ever get sick of reading it, but it just really highlights that when you know your life purpose, all of these other things like relationships just fall into place. Number 3, Autobiography of a Yogi. Just reading this book gave me a sense of peace and serenity. It really highlights the importance of our spiritual pursuit in creating fulfillment in all areas of our life. It's a really great read about the life of, don't hassle me for butchering this name, Paramahansa Yogananda. It's one of the best books I've ever read, and I highly recommend everyone reading it at least once. 4, Treasure Yourself by Miranda Kerr. This one I hold close to my heart. My mum gave it to me when I was like 13 years old, and it's just a very easy read about how to take care of yourself and nurture your dreams, and it also has a really amazing chapter of affirmations at the end. Number 5, Creative Visualization by Shakti Gawain. I found this book for $7 in a crystal store in Byron Bay, and I cannot believe how much the meditations and the guided visualizations in this book have changed my life. It's just insane the amount of amazing stuff that this book has taught me and basically trained me to think. Now I'm going to give you 10 affirmations which are going to be really useful in building yourself back up after this tumultuous period in your life. I can release the past and forgive everyone. I refuse to eat emotional poison. Life always gets better when I treat myself better. I choose nutritious food and treasure my body. My healing is already in process. Every relationship teaches me something valuable about myself and others. I am kind and loving, and I have a great deal to share with others. The light within me is creating miracles in my life, here and now. My life is blossoming into total perfection. I trust life, and I am protected. Thank you so much for watching and sticking with me till the end. I hope I haven't triggered too many of you people. I know that if you've searched this, you're probably feeling really raw right now and maybe in a lot of emotional pain or trauma. And I just want you to know that I understand you and I feel you. I'm sending much love through time and space, through this camera, through the internet to you. And just know that you will reach a place of equilibrium again. Time does heal all. You've taken the initiative to really look after yourself and applaud yourself for that. Leave a comment if you found this helpful, and even share this with someone that you think might need to see this. Please leave a like, it really helps the algorithm, and I really want to keep making helpful videos, so I'd really appreciate that. And also don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell because I'll be releasing videos 2 to 3 times a week. Thank you so much, peace out. My foot's numb.